to I Wonder Doctor Live.
I'm Dr. David Rosensweet.
And I'm Joshua Rosensweet.
And today we want to discuss a subject that came up when I was talking to my mom. A couple times a week I visit my mom, who's 97 years old, in an assisted living facility. And bless her heart, we always connect in love, even though there's a lot of things that she doesn't remember. She definitely remembers who I am. And we were talking, and as always, she likes me to talk to her and tell me how my days went and what went on during the day. And I was telling her when I said that we had a very active week, a lot of stuff going on. And I was a little tired. It was Friday night. And in the table next to us, there were some people, precious people, sitting around the table complaining about various things. And I'm telling my mom about what's going on in my week, and the people are talking next to us, not too loud. And my mom turns to me and says, "Don't complain." And I turned to my mom and I said, "Mom, are you talking to my soul?" And she says, "Yes, I'm talking to your soul." And then we went on to say a few more things, and then the people next to us were still complaining. And my mom turns to me and says, "And don't whine." And I said, "Are you talking to my soul again, Mom?" And it was a poignant moment, and we had quite a smile there. And because a little subject like that has a lot of depth to it, a lot of resonance to it. I mean, think about it, what whining is and what complaining is. It's certainly something you can do out loud, or you can drift away from the moment, go up into your mind, and have all kinds of thoughts about, "I don't like this, and this is so hard," and you know, the litany can go on and on and on, and it can go from complaining to whining, really. And whining has that pejorative sense to it because it just doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't do anything for us. It just feels bad. So one could come up with the idea that it would be great to stop complaining and whining, and that is a great strategy if you do it just by choice.
Yeah.
I learned over the course of my lifetime, it doesn't work to complain to anybody. Most people, they've got their own lives and their own challenges going on, and if you start emotionally or angrily or disgustingly or concealed disgust, start complaining to somebody, well, how many people can take that? It's hard on them.
And there's layers to this. There's overt whiners and complainers who actually say out of their mouths these whines and complains, and me included. And then there's covert complainers. We're having a conversation, and on the surface of it looks kind, and I look kind, but I still have the emotional resonance of a whiner.
Right.
I'm still whining whether I've controlled the mouth from saying it or not.
Yeah.
And that's even more confusing sometimes.
It is.
Feel the underlying.
And I could be walking down the beach. We live in Florida.
Yeah.
I live near a beach, and it can be a totally beautiful day, and I can be complaining or whining in my mind.
No one there.
Right.
Yeah.
No reason in the world.
Yeah.
And again, just to go for the practical aspects, it's wonderful to navigate through this world and be successful. And be successful in all of our transactions, business, friendships, and otherwise. And if you, in your desire to be successful, there's certain things that seem to pertain, rules of the road, and one of them is stop complaining and stop whining. It's not going to get you anywhere. And you know what's going to happen? Let's say you need your roof fixed, or your air conditioner fixed, or your heating system fixed. It's not going to help you to get on the phone to someone who could help you and start getting upset with them and angry with them. I mean, you can imagine how many times a day that happens to them? So as a strategy, it's worth noticing when you do it and abandoning it just by choice.
Yeah.
And I say just by choice because there's reasons why we whine and complain. And one of the tools that I love to implement when I get awake enough to recognize I'm whining and complaining. Because this kind of stuff can go on as long stories and long dialogues and inner diatribes that without me even noticing it and surfacing to go, what are you doing up there?
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone can relate to that. So the first tool to bring to any dysfunctional behavior is become aware of it. And I'm tuned in to a lot of my own possible troublesome ways of living, and that's one of them I'm tuned into. A part of me is conscious of what's going on in my own mind. For one thing, I love my mind. It's how I've earned a living, and it's a source of endless entertainment. And at the same time, I can do dysfunctional things with my mind, and one of them is to go into excessive internal dialogue, where instead of being in the moment, even in a
or one I commonly do, I'm formulating what I'm going to say.
Yes.
Rather
conversation with someone else,
yeah.
I'm looking at you, but I'm thinking, did I turn the stove off? And gee, what do I have to do tonight when I get home? You know?
Right. Or one I commonly do, I'm formulating what I'm going to say.
Yes.
Rather than listen to what they're actually saying and coming up with a natural response based on a real conversation. I've jumped ahead. I've left the moment.
Left the moment. How key is that? And then one of the most common ways of leaving the moment is to start thinking. And I heard a comment from one of the teachers that I follow that said that 95% of the human beings on this earth spend 95% of their time in thinking that removes them from living in the moment and takes them down a trail that is unbeneficial. And just as an aside, this has been amplified in modern time by screens, by phones and iPads and computers. And you've got a whole generation that's developed these new diagnoses called attention deficit disorder, for example, where they've shifted from their mind into the screens and they've gotten caught up in their screens and they're losing their ability to tend, be present in the moment and to concentrate. And they're taking medications for this, and strong ones at that, and addictive ones at that. But that's an aside.
I'm so with you that it is true. It feels like the latest way to escape. We've always had ways.
Yes.
Now we've got a new way.
Yeah.
It's these screens.
And as this teacher was pointing out, this is we don't know how this is going to play out in the generations, because there's been a shift away from, us humans in our origins were very much like animals, like dogs, in the sense that we were present. We were there in the moment. A dog is not contemplating, gee, my master looks a little grim today, what can I do to cheer him up or anything like that. No, they're just there and they love you and you feel it.
Yeah.
And in our early, is what has been called the golden age of being human beings, we didn't have this drift into our mind as prevalent as it is now.
Speaking of drifting, I'm losing the attachment to where we began, which was with
Thank you.
whining and complaining.
Well, you have to say that to me. When I was really
Because I didn't like what you were doing.
Yes, because one of the common forms that excessive internal dialogue can take is in the form of complaining. So I like to ask myself the question, when I notice that I'm whining, rather than just stopping it, the step 2 that I'll do, step 1 is I notice it, become aware of it. Step 2 that I'll do is I'll pay attention to it. What am I feeling? Because it's usually being fueled by uncomfortable emotions, uncomfortable, animated, fueled
by something
uncomfortable,
deeper.
uncomfortable feelings. And so ultimately, you want to be really skilled at uncomfortable feelings. It's the bottom line for getting well and for succeeding, really, and coming home to who you are, is we're all willing to accept happiness and fun and pleasures and entertainment and stuff. But if we're avoiding the part of ourself that's hurting, that's come to earth with unresolved, uncomfortable emotions, and there's the short story, the total story of what to do with uncomfortable feelings. Recognize that you are having uncomfortable feelings and feel them. And feel them. And I don't think of it so much as America, because we're all humans all over the world, but I do think of freedom and what's going on in me. The second part is,
on some of those walks,